Hello everyone, welcome Facebook, YouTube, welcome to my video. Today we're doing things a little bit different. As you guys can see on my motorcycle, I finally got a GoPro style camera, something really cheap off of Amazon. Quality's not all the best, but we're making it work. I decided to record using that camera and do audio in the post editing. So I'm just doing a little voiceover while you guys get to see the scenery in the background. So I hope you guys enjoy that. But today we are doing two things. We're going to be doing the top speed test redo, but also today is the big day where I do my Q&A. Q&A over my experiences with the RX3 and everything else that you guys had interest in, wanted to know about me. So I'm going to go ahead and start with question number 1. And question number 1 is, what made you start riding motorcycles? All right, so I'm going to start from the very beginning here. So ever since 2017 is when I bought my first vehicle. And that vehicle, as you guys have also seen in the video multiple times, you've seen me working on my bike, using my pickup truck basically as a workbench. That pickup truck I've had for the past almost 5 years. And that pickup truck has basically been my ride or die daily commuter for the past couple of years. And just recently, mainly in the past year or two, is where I started to see gas prices in California soar higher than they have ever been. And for a period of time, I stopped using my truck and just started using my wife's car. At the time, before we had our twins, we had our kids, we had a Buick, and I would use that car for a short period of time to be able to go back and forth to work, so I wouldn't have to spend so much more money with, driving my pickup truck. My pickup truck still gets 13 miles to the gallon. And as of recently, with gas prices being over $4, just going back and forth from work over the span of a month or even a couple of weeks, I had to spend like $90 just to fill the tank up. And so I just couldn't justify it anymore. I couldn't justify spending almost $100 just to show up to work. And so that basically came down to me searching for other alternatives. Again, like I said, using my wife's car for the time being, it helped a little bit. But now that our kids are here and they're in the mix, she needs her car, which is the minivan now. She needs that vehicle, to take the kids wherever they need to go, if need be. So I had to find another option, and I didn't want it to be another car because I just don't need 3 cars. So that's when I started looking at alternatives. The first alternative that came up was, how about we ride a bicycle? Well, with my commute, riding a bicycle was just not an option. Riding back and forth 10 miles with only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night just wouldn't cut it. And then electrical bicycles. Intriguing, but with electrical bicycles, to get one that's really good and this is the main issue with the electrical bicycles, they have very limited range. And my commute back to work, as it stands with my current job, is about 10 miles each way, so about 20 miles a day. there might be some bicycles out there that get that much range. However, how fast they can go, and and knowing that the faster that you go on those bikes, the faster you're going to drain the battery as well. So being able to find a bicycle that has enough battery capacity and is of high enough quality to be able to even keep up to go 40 or 50 miles an hour. I don't even know if that's possible. At that point, for the amount of money that you'd be spending on that bicycle, might as well just buy a motorcycle. And so that's what led me down to the track to start in my research towards motorcycles. And which leads me into the second question. Why did I choose CSC over other competitors? Well, when doing my initial research for motorcycles out there, being someone who would be a brand new rider, I was basically looking for the cheapest options, but not necessarily going for something completely used, because as a new rider and just a new potential owner of a motorcycle, I wanted to steer away from something that was used as much as possible, because I have no idea how motorcycles worked and how to work on them yet. So I saw a lot of videos online about the dual sports, such as the Hawk 250, the Bashan Braz 250, the TBR7, the Life and X spec. I mean, all these motorcycles were so intriguing to me because of their price points. And I was intrigued. I went on to Amazon, tried to press the order button, and lo and behold, can't be shipped to California. So, that pretty much done it in for me. Looked at the TT250 in comparison to all those other different bikes that I just mentioned. The TT250, brand new, was basically more than double the price of a Hawk or Bashan or the TBR7, which later on I found out why, because it's just obviously a much better put together motorcycle than those other motorcycles are. But nonetheless, the TT250 was pretty much my only option if I wanted to go that route. I also looked at used bikes, and the majority of the used bikes that were in the market for myself, I was looking at KLR 650s. I was looking at maybe even a Honda CB500X, the DRZ 400, or the DRZ 650, and V-Strom 650. Basically, all those bikes that I just listed, with the KLR, the Honda, the DRZ, except for the Honda, all those bikes get, at best, 50 miles to the gallon. Whereas the Hawk and the Braz and all those other different motorcycles, even the TT250, got 60 and above. And to me, my main priority, or the reason why I started even looking for riding motorcycles, was to start saving money on gas. So, of course, the miles per gallon was the top priority for me. Secondly, the size of the motorcycle. I wanted to be on a motorcycle where I would sit up in an upright position. A lot of folks, they would recommend to me, and I've said this time and time again, I'm 6'5", over 300 pounds. I have no business being on like a Kawasaki 400, Ninja 400, or a CBR. It just makes no sense for me to be on a sport bike, leaned over, hunched over, big old guy in a small little sports bike. It made no sense. Also, with the cruiser bikes, I didn't want to be sitting so low. I like to sit up high, like to sit up straight. And so this is why I lean more towards those style of bikes, the adventure and dual sport type bikes. So when it came to the used market, the price that I would find those bikes that I mentioned, the KLR 650, the Honda CBX 500, they were just, if you could find one that was in good shape, they're like $3,000 to $4,000. But most of them have been thrashed, beat up, and abused. The last V-Strom that I saw on Facebook Marketplace was on sale for $3,000. It came with luggage, but it had over 70,000 miles. And I don't know whether those are good miles or miles being abused. You just have no clue. And especially with the Honda CB500X, that bike is just not meant for tall people at all. But I continue to look in the used market, and I got really lucky. I found someone not close in my area, but almost around the surrounding area. I had to drive about 2 hours out. I found somebody selling their TT250 used, and it only had 600 miles on it. So I was able to grab that bike up at a decent price, and that started my motorcycle journey. I rode that bike. It was my first bike. Learned how to ride on it. Learned all the fundamentals. Did the essential upgrades that a lot of people talk about. The 45 tooth rear sprocket. I did an LED headlight upgrade. I put a top box on the back. The only thing that I did not touch was the exhaust and the jetting. Those two things I did not touch at all. Every time that I tried to look for a jet kit, they were either sold out, and every other source that I tried to buy a jet kit from, I just couldn't get one because, again, I live in California. So CSC was at the time that I had the bike, was the only source to get a jet kit, but the whole time that I had the bike, they were just always sold out. So I was stuck with a TT250 with the stock jetting, and I was just unsatisfied with it after a while. With the gearing change, I was able to hit max 63 indicated. I never did a GPS test on that bike, and I just knew, especially from what you guys have seen in the video, doing all these like back roads and country roads, there's some sections where you really can get, up to past 60 miles an hour. And I just knew for the type of riding that I wanted to do, it just wasn't enough. And so that's what brought me to sell that bike and ultimately be interested in either the RX3 or the RX4. I was really interested in either one. And that leads us into the third question. Being a big guy, why did I choose the RX3 versus the RX4? All right, so I really got to break this category down because I was torn about this decision for a very long time. But at the time that I was looking, and at the time that I was very interested in buying one, first off, the price point. Now, both bikes from their MSRP or their original price, the price difference is not that much. It's only $800 difference. But at the time that I was buying mine, first off, the specific bike that I bought was already on discount because it had cosmetic damages. I had $250 off because it was damaged due to a prior delivery. And then on top of that, because it was New Year's, I was able to get an additional $250 off. So the bike that I have and that I'm riding, I got it $500 off of the originated price. So I paid a little over $3,700 for this RX3 versus spending $5,000 for the RX4. So that was one big motivation. The second was that it's convenient. And it's convenient in this sense. The second most important thing to me when it came in between the RX3 and RX4 was ease of maintenance. And the RX3 is far superior in this regard, mainly just because it has the option of having a center stand. The RX4 does not have a center stand, and it's heavier. The weight in total honesty is not all that much of a difference, but just the opportunity to have a center stand on the bike makes it that much more practical in everyday use. Knowing that I'm going to be using the bike in the way that I was going to be using it almost as a daily commuter, like a replacement for my pickup truck. So being able to pop it up on a center stand, clean the chain real quick, pop it up on a center stand, maybe change the tires if I need to. It just makes things that much easier and that much more convenient. Right? Another thing about the RX3, which I already touched on, it's lighter. My pickup truck, I do have a motorcycle hitch carrier. Now, it's one of those types of carriers that you like push into the hitch, and it's kind of like a platform that you put the bike on. My hitch carrier is rated for 600 pounds. However, the ton weight limit on my pickup truck, it's an older truck. Most newer trucks nowadays can get up to 750 pounds of dead weight. It's different when you have the hitch trailer versus an actual trailer that has wheels. For when it comes to a trailer that has wheels, my tongue weight for my pickup truck is somewhere around 700 to 800. But when it comes to dead weight, its limit is 500. And that right there, knowing that I potentially would want to put the bike on the back of my truck someday, if I was to move or if I wanted to go on an adventure of some sort, I would really like to be able to use my hitch carrier and put the bike on the back. If I had the RX4, I would almost be pushing the limit. You know, my truck is pretty old, and I didn't want to be almost maxing out the weight limit. Carrying my bike around if need be. So that's another reason why it is that the weight was really important for me to keep it down. So in the event that I did have to transport my bike on the back of my truck, I would be able to do so, and I would be able to do so a lot easier. And just overall, I don't really ride highways. I don't really need to go over 75 miles an hour. And what you guys are also going to see in the video with my final results, you'll see how fast the bike the RX3 can actually go. But most people have reported and said that this bike can go 75 miles an hour all day, no problem, and it's true. So even with the RX3, if I wanted to go onto the highway, I still can. And spending an extra $1,500 just to go 10-15 miles an hour faster when I don't really want to go on a highway anyway, just really wasn't worth it. All right. Well, yeah. Question number 4. How was the TT250 on pavement versus dirt or gravel roads? I can't really say. I never rode the TT250 on off-road or on gravel roads. I never rode it off-road. I bought the bike when it had 611 miles on it, and I sold it with 740 something. Did not have that bike for long. I only put 100 something miles on it, and it was basically all inner city, running little errands, going here, going there, all on pavement. And I'm pretty sure if I ever did go off-road, it would have been a lot more satisfying. Would have been, because I really do believe for the TT250, that's just where it belongs. It belongs on the dirt. It belongs on those unpaved paths. And if someone's going to be looking for a TT250 or a Hawk or any of those type of dual sport bikes, if they're looking for it to be just a commuter bike, getting back and forth from work, to me the RX3 is better in that regard, because I have the storage boxes, and with it being fuel injected, I didn't have to wait for my carburetor to warm up, or have to suffer overall performance because the bike wasn't warming up yet. It's just the RX3 is just better in every regard when it comes to that. But for someone who is just looking for a cheap way to get out on the back roads, or maybe even tear up some trails, maybe nothing too serious, the TT250 is your bike. And I will say the main thing that I really did enjoy about the TT250 in comparison to the RX3 was the maintenance. The TT250 was stupid easy to work on. I really didn't have it that long, but I did do an oil change, and I also did change the battery on it. I did do a couple of upgrades on it, being the sprocket and putting like a USB plug and a LED headlight. And then lastly, I did a valve check clearance job on that bike. And let me tell you, doing a valve check clearance on the TT250 and the SG250, because it's pretty much the same, is way easier than doing it on the RX3 or RX4. You don't even have to remove the gas tank. You don't have to remove anything. You just can fit your hand right underneath, take the valve cover off, unloosen the little rocker arm bolts, put your feeler gauge in. Once you're done filling around with it, put it all back together, and you're good to go. You don't have to do this super long disassembly process. So I guess for someone who never has to go over 50 miles an hour, the TT250, that's your bike. You can put, if you wanted to, I guess you can put bags on it to make it a convenient commuter, and you really wouldn't need the RX3 or RX4 in that regard. But to me, the RX3 was an obvious choice for me to have, because I needed to go faster than 50 miles an hour. I wanted to have the fuel injection. I wanted to have the extra boxes that came stock with it. And especially for the price that I paid for this bike, in comparison to buying, the RX4 or even a TT250 brand new, it was just a no-brainer. Spending $3,700 before taxes and fees. I think after everything came out, it was somewhere around $5,000, because I had to definitely buy the tall seat and the center stand and a bunch of other different little things. And then you got your taxes and your shipping and all that, and your obvious other fees. But still, in comparison to a brand new TT250, which would have been $3,600, well, I really wouldn't need to buy one because I already bought one used. But for someone who was looking to buy one brand new, you just have to weigh those pros and cons. A center stand to me was essential, and you guys see in the videos as well. I think one of the main reasons why, another main reason, which I've already touched on with the RX4, the reason why I didn't want to have that bike, I mean, if it had a center stand, it would have been great. But even with it not having a center stand, let's just say if I lived in an area where I had a garage, a big garage, and I could keep the bike in there on a motorcycle lift and have enough space for all different types of tools and things to be able to work on it in a enclosed environment, then hell yeah, I would have bought an RX4, because then I would have had a very convenient space to work on it if I needed to. But you got to see me on my videos with my RX3. I'm always outside. I have it outside in front. There's no space in my garage for me to work on it. I always got to have it outside. And with having it outside, as such, it's just easy. It's easy to just pop it up on the center stand to be able to do whatever it is that I need to do. And that was it. That was one of the main selling points right there. Convenience. All right, so my final thoughts on the RX3's performance overall. I've had this bike now for about a month. I've done the break-in process. I put you guys have seen me put all the different upgrades on the bike and all the different issues that I've had with it. Some mainly due to my own mistakes. I'd say I'm very satisfied with the bike. It does exactly what I needed to do. It's a perfect commuter. And as you guys probably, if you've been watching the background video, I'm able to do, 65, 75, 70 just fine. I'm able to, have all the upgrades that I put on it. So the hand warmers and sit up straight, sit up tall. It's comfortable for me because with the tall seat on there, I fit on there just great. My butt's not sore. It gets me from point A to point B, and with all the boxes on there, I have so much space to go grocery shopping or do whatever it is that I need to do. It's been a great bike so far, and I hope that all I need to do is just general maintenance on the bike here on out. And I hope I don't have any issues with it, but I'll continue to document my experiences with it. But so far, I'm really pleased with the bike. Really, really pleased with the bike. I sometimes do have that, buyer's remorse, just a bit. I know that the RX4 in every way is just a better bike. It just is. You can go faster. Bigger CCs. The top box is even bigger. It has more technology, so you can actually see what your tire pressures are. You can see what your tire temperature. It even shows you the MPG that you're getting. You see all that stuff in real time. And it comes with a LED headlight from factory as well. There's just so many things on the RX4 in comparison to the RX3 that would really make it worth that extra certain amount of money that you would spend whether it be $800 or if you try to get one on discount. But man, if only it were more convenient for my lifestyle and for what it is that I really am looking for. I'm not going to outrule it completely. I think maybe at some point in life, I buy my own house. I have a big garage. Maybe the wife can get the RX3 and I'll upgrade to an RX4 or RX6 whichever one comes out someday. But yeah, it'll have to fit my lifestyle a lot better. But as of right now, I'm just enjoying riding on the back roads, getting back and forth from work, and doing so very cheaply and efficiently, getting 55 to 60 mpg while doing so. And that about wraps it up. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll let you guys continue to see the background video, and stay tuned to the end. It'll pop up my overall top speed that I got for the day and the average speed that I was getting. There's certain sections. I took the audio off for a reason. It was absolutely abysmal. The wind noise was just horrendous, and you really couldn't hear me at all anyway. But there were certain sections where I had wind coming from all different types of directions, coming headwind, crosswinds. The majority of the time I was able to keep either 75 miles per hour top speed or slightly below it, but mainly over 70 was the indicated, that is, was the average top speed in most situations, but mostly 75. And when it came to my absolute top speed, well, you'll see that shortly. All right, y'all. More videos to come, so stay tuned. And yeah, thanks for watching the video. Peace out, y'all.